Hello again, my little paratroopers, and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. In today's episode, we shall be casting our eyes over the new Winter Fallschirmjäger Starter Army by Warlord Games. This bundle is part of a whole bunch of new ones that Warlord Games have been putting out as part of the launch of 3rd edition. But the real question is it any good? Is it a great foundation to start your bolt action journey? And is it suitable for the new edition of the game? Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's strap on a parachute, jump out of a plane, and dive right into today's episode.
Attention guardsmen, the Commissariat has detected you have not yet liked this video. Do so immediately or else you will face the Emperor's wrath. And anyone who has not yet subscribed to the channel will be transferred to the penal battalions. That is all. Move out!
Now, before we dive into the models that you get in this starter army, I think it's important to add a bit of context. We are going to be looking at this starter bundle through the lens of 3rd edition. You see, there are many starter armies on the Warlord Games website right now, and a lot of them are bloody fantastic. But they were all designed and released during 2nd edition. What I want to see with these new starter armies is that Warlord Games has put the care and the thought and attention into them so that they are not only viable in 3rd edition, but they downright are designed with 3rd edition in mind. Are we getting a good selection of units? Are there some natural platoons that we can create out of these armies? Or are we going to have to scrabble around and try and make it work, try and fit a square peg through a round hole? So that's really what I'm looking for here, and that's what's going to make me give the thumbs up or the thumbs down. But with that framing in place, now let's get into the best bit. What models do we get in the army? First up, we have 36 of the multi-pose hard plastic Winter Fallschirmjäger. This is one of Warlord Games' latest infantry kits. It's what came as part of Battle of the Bulge, and I have got a whole bunch of these in my existing German army. And let me assure you, dear listener, that these models are bloody fantastic. They very well may be my favourite plastic infantry that Warlord Games has ever released. Not only are the sculpts so crisp, with mould lines being barely existent, but also you get so many weapon options and extra bits. You have all of the SMGs, rifles, LMGs, assault rifles, Panzerfaust, you name it, it's got it. These Winter Fallschirmjäger are perfect for making all of your different kinds of infantry squads. Do you want to have some Germans holding back with LMGs providing fire support? Easily done. Do you want to have an assault squad loaded up to the gills with SMGs and with assault rifles? You got it. Do you want a nice balance? Maybe a couple of assault rifles, a few rifles and an LMG, something that can take everything on. Chuck a couple of cheeky Panzerfausts in there. You can do it with this kit. But it's not just the quality of the individual miniatures, it's also the quantity that we're getting in this box. 36 is a lot of Fallschirmjäger. That is a buttload of Fallschirmjäger. Typically, you're going to want to take these guys as veteran experience, and 36 is going to be more than enough. In fact, what you'll probably find is you'll use between 25 and 30 of these models, and then you'll have a few left over, which is always a good thing to have because it means you can build a few extra models with some extra war gear, allows you to have a bit of flexibility when it comes to building your army. So long story short, you're getting a lot of high quality infantry, which you are going to have lots of flexibility and redundancy when it comes to building them and playing with them. On top of the plastic infantry, we are getting a bunch of Warlord resin infantry models as well. These are more specialist. So we're getting a Fallschirmjäger officer, a Fallschirmjäger NCO, a medic, and a radio operator. Now, in the past, all these extra models, they haven't really been that useful. You've just sort of chucked them in and basically used it to make up the numbers to maybe 30 or 40 infantry that come in the starter army. But in 3rd edition, things are a little different, and these specialist models are actually quite a welcome addition. Firstly, not only are they extra bodies, but they're also unique sculpts. You can build officers from the plastic infantry that you get as part of this kit, but when you use these Warlord resin models, they tend to be in a cool, unique pose that makes them stand out a little bit in your army. And I just like them. I really cherish a lot of my metal officers that I've chosen to buy, even outside of starter bundles like this. Now, getting a couple of officers here, the officer and the NCO, they can both be run as officers, no problem whatsoever. That actually gives you a couple of leaders that you're going to need for your platoons. So one of those officers is going to be perfect for leading the rifle platoon that you have to take, and one of them is going to be really useful, as we'll see later on, for your heavy weapon platoons. The medic is a staple of all of these kind of command groups. Most people do end up using them as just like an extra rifleman that they chuck into the squad, but it is important to note that there's a bit of chit, and dare I say chat, about medics at the moment, because now that we've got cover saves in bolt action, you can have your veteran infantry, which are like 5s to wound, and then they could be in heavy cover, or they could go down for a 2-up or 3-up save, and then you have the medic in there as well, who's starting to provide them with a 6-up medic save. If you're going over from Warhammer 40k, it's kind of like having a 6-up feel no pain, right? That is a lot of defensive layers. And so I quite like the medic at the moment. And I think including a medic as part of a veteran starter army, which is how you typically take your Fallschirmjäger, is actually quite a smart move here. The final leader / character that we've got here is the radio operator. This model is perfect for either using as a spotter for your medium mortar or as an artillery or air observer. Now, spotters and observers have become much better in 3rd edition. I particularly like the air observer. He has gone from being a bit of a joke and a meme in the previous edition to being a very serious choice in 3rd edition. So having this model in here gives us a few different ways we can use him, like I said, spotter or observer, both of which are very good. That covers the infantry and officers, but we do have a bunch of other infantry models in this starter army, and these are the weapon teams. First up, we have the sniper team. I quite like sniper teams in 3rd edition. I didn't like them in 2nd edition, but they get around enemy cover saves, and considering that cover saves are absolutely bloody everywhere, having a cheeky sniper team can be a great way of picking off enemy officers and sergeants, which can start throwing your opponent's army into disarray. Also, snipers aren't particularly expensive, so you'll always find a few points in your list to chuck one in. Now, the sniper team is kind of a fun and potentially decent choice. Our next weapon team is really good. Fantastic. A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. It is the Panzerschreck team. Panzerschrecks are a really good source of anti-tank in your German armies. They've got a decent range and they've got fantastic penetrative power. The reason why I'm quite hard with Panzerschreck teams at the moment is because of how many tanks I am seeing entering into the bolt action 3rd edition meta. And back in the day, you could get away with maybe 1 or 2 anti-tank choices, but in the current climate, any sort of anti-tank you can get your hands on is good. Now, a lot of starter armies have to make do with things like anti-tank rifles as a anti-tank choice. And let me tell you, anti-tank rifles, they ain't anti-tank. They show willing, but they're more of a psychological threat than anything else. Panzerschrecks are genuinely punchy. Having one of these in the starter force is a really big thumbs up from me. After the Panzerschreck, we have got not 1, but 2 Winter Fallschirmjäger medium machine gun teams. And we've got a Winter Fallschirmjäger medium mortar team. This is the same composition as we saw with the veteran infantry German starter set, and I was very happy with it in that army, and I'm very happy with it in this army. I think that German machine guns are lethal in the new edition, and the fact that you're getting 2 of them really leans into that buzzsaw special rule, and they're just cool. Germans and machine guns just go together in bolt action. So having 2 of those is going to feel right. It's going to feel like you're playing Germans, and it's going to reward you by leaning into your army special rules. As for the medium mortar, well, you can never go wrong with a medium mortar. It is a staple of bot action. It gives your army just that little smidge of HE and indirect fire. And last, but certainly not least, we have got a Winter Fallschirmjäger Pack 40 anti-tank gun. Woohoo, baby! Now, I was not expecting that one. This is a heavy anti-tank gun. And I said before tanks were important in 3rd edition, becoming very prevalent. Having this alongside the Panzerschreck team really gives you a solid base of anti-tank. And when you combine it with one of the vehicles we'll be looking at in a moment, this force has got plenty of tools for dealing with enemy armored thrusts. But speaking of armor, we do get 2 vehicles as part of this starter set. We have the 222 armored car. You know it, you love it. This thing was first introduced in the Gentleman's War starter army in 2nd edition, and it was so popular and so well received that we have seen Warlord Games starting to include it in many of their other starter sets, including this one and also the German Veteran Infantry starter army. It's a really high quality kit. I know loads of people who have built them and they've all said it was a dream to build and it looks great on the tabletop. In terms of the 222's rules, it's a recce vehicle with a cheeky autocannon. Just can't go wrong with that. And then we have the heavier armor, which is the Stug 3. Stug is an iconic German tank and it's one that's pretty decent in 3rd edition as well. You can build it so it's got a heavy anti-tank gun, or you can have it with the medium howitzer, making it fantastic for blowing up enemy infantry. The best bit about the Stug kit is you don't need to commit to one of those builds or the other. It's just a simple case of slotting one barrel in or not to the model. If you don't slot the long barrel in, it's got the stubby barrel, there's your Stu 42, there's your medium howitzer. Put the long barrel in, boom, you're up to your Stug 3 and you've got lots of anti-tank. It's a very flexible unit, which I know a lot of people love the look of and enjoy using on the tabletop. The only slight downside to the Stug is, of course, it's got that fixed gun. So unlike a tank which has got a turret, it can potentially be vulnerable to side shots. But that is, it's going to sound crazy. It's kind of part of the charm of the vehicle, and using a Stug, you have to put a little bit of thought into it, and you've got to play a bit of cat and mouse with your opponent, making sure that you're keeping your front armor on whilst protecting your side armor. So adding all of this up, we have got 40 infantry models, 6 weapon teams, and 2 armored vehicles in this starter force, all for £104. I've got to be honest with you guys, I think this is one of the best deals that Warlord Games has ever put out. You are getting well over 1,000, well over 1250 points worth of models. You've got lots of different options for you to choose from. It's a great way of getting an army and being able to try several different army lists out. You get this. You might not need to get any other models for your Germans. It's got armor, it's got weapon teams, it's got all the infantry. The infantry have got loads of options. The weapon teams have got fantastic variety. The vehicles can be built in a couple of different ways. This really is the complete package. In fact, I am going to go so far and say that this is my new favorite starter army from Warlord Games. I did not think there was going to be anything that would beat the old winter German starter army. That's what I started with. But if I had to pick between that one and this starter army, I'd pick this one every single time. Both are great, don't get me wrong. Both are great. In fact, in a funny sort of way, if you ended up buying both of those, you would have all of the Germans you would ever need, completely future-proofed army. That'd be incredible, right? But this is my new favorite one. I would recommend this to every single person who is looking to get into bot action 3rd edition with the Germans. And I really want to clarify something here. I'm not just saying that because it's a good deal, you're getting lots of models in that. Of course, that's a big bonus, right? Let's be honest with each other. But the reason why I've got such a hard on for this is it's really good for 3rd edition. You have got several very clear platoons here. You can take 1, if not 2 rifle platoons from those plastic infantry. You have got Sniper Team and Panzerschreck, which can easily be fit inside that rifle platoon. You've then got the 2 medium machine guns and you've got the medium mortar. That fits in a heavy weapon platoon. And you only need 1 artillery piece or anti-tank to have a artillery platoon. So that Pack 40 totally works. And then getting 2 vehicles, well, you need 2 vehicles for an armor platoon. Bosh, you're good to go. So you're getting a lot of models, and they all fit very naturally into the new platoon structure of 3rd edition. I know it sounds absolutely, totally, and utterly bonkers, but I am genuinely thinking about getting this starter army. That's how enthusiastic I am about it. I already have more Germans than I can shake a stick at. I really, really like this thing. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you like the starter force? Are you tempted to get into Bolt Action Edition with it? Or do you prefer the look of another starter army? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously, guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video. And of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.